What does the siren and the late bloomer have in common? The siren and the late bloomer actually share a very similar mythology. Let me explain. As someone that does resonate with siren energy and has also been considered a late bloomer in a lot of ways, neither fully fit in the timeline or expectations of the world and the environment around them, right? And that is because they often spend a great deal of time, years even, being misunderstood before they actually become realized. The siren doesn't force themselves to fit into every environment and every space, especially where it lacks depth, whereas the late bloomer often holds a underestimated journey very early on in their life. They also develop internally while others develop externally, right? So both archetypes, they often experience a few things: loneliness, comparison, sometimes being watched by others on their milestones, where they're at, being kind of projected onto other people's desires for what they feel that person should be, where they should be in life, what they should have accomplished at certain stages, where they often feel like they're fighting their gifts, their talents to be understood. Maybe they feel like they're not properly valued or supported even. They also feel possessed rather than held by the people around them that are supposed to care and love them. Another thing that they have in common is that both of their timelines and their journey cannot be rushed. It is an external journey first and then outwardly, which society usually skips that. They become externally progressed while lacking emotionally, or the inner self, the inner character. They often focus more so on the material realm than the inner realm. So with both archetypes, they are formed through divine timing, not rushed timing. So a siren without depth and discernment becomes self-destructive and becomes empty and dry. Whereas a late bloomer, when they're forced to bloom prematurely, that often builds a life that's disconnected from their own true inner core self. Somewhere in life, whether early in life or young adult life, or maybe even a point of 30s, 40 years, it doesn't matter. Both archetypes will go or undergo a longer initiation process, or just an initiation process in general when it comes to their journey, when it comes to their purpose. And honestly, many of you may identify with this as a creative being, as a intuitive being, as a empath, as a healer, as a person that has very powerful gifts, a person that is eccentric, right? That does not live the play-by-play life of what other humans have placed onto you. And this isn't because you're better, I'm better, we're better than anyone else. It's due to your growth patterns that appear to be non-linear, right? And identity-centered rather than conventional and milestone-centered. And the challenge for both the siren and the late bloomer sometimes is that they often mistake delayed recognition for the lack of their value sometimes. And this is a dangerous thing, especially when you are surrounded by people that only respect visible proof, right? So whether that be money, whether that be titles, whether that be popularity, whether that be status, whether that be traditional timelines. Meanwhile, the late bloomer is still in the underworld phase, meaning they're still developing, they're still discerning, they're still learning their voice, they're still self-recognition, depth, creative identity, emotional intelligence, spiritual intelligence, nervous system regulation and reliance. And the irony in all of this is that many of the late bloomers eventually become the most distinctive people in the room, right? Because they were forced to develop substance instead of just an image. Whereas sirens specifically become more powerful when they stop trying to be seen in spaces and capable of recognizing their nature and their depth, but rather them leaning into their mystery and their myth.